You know what's funny? Every person that's ever lost their shirt flipping houses thought they had it figured out. They watched the shows, ran the numbers, they even had contractors and a buyer lined up, and then life happened. I'm not here to sell you a dream. If you want, go to literally any other channel and you can find that. I'm here to show you exactly how people go broke, because the pattern is almost always the same, and more importantly, how a small group of flippers avoids every single one of these traps and actually builds wealth. This video is something I wish someone handed me when I first started. Let's get into it. Here's where most people start, and it's usually the first mistake. They watch the shows, Flip or Flop, any HGTV special that's about, buying a house, renovating it, and making money, right? And here's where I actually kind of differ. A lot of flippers will say, that's not true. It's not how it is. I actually disagree. I'll say this firsthand. My second flip, but my first flip with my wife and I, was that. And we lived in the flip. It was not a normal, we hire contractors out and it's just all fun and easy. It was us grinding, living in the flip. We're in our 20s. I mean, we're still in our 20s, but this was years ago that we were in our younger 20s, and we bought a house. The ARV was $750,000 to $800,000. We bought the house at $410,000. There was a lot of room to make money. Now, our goal was to make the most amount possible and do all of the work ourselves. Yes, all of the work ourselves. My wife was pregnant at the time. And keep in mind, we just got married. The first year of marriage, I would argue, it's a time to stop all of the crazy commitments that you've had, whether it's with your church, whether it's with work or with other friends, and just build communion and spend that first year to just grow and build. And I'll tell you what, we did that. Keep in mind, not only were we flipping a house all by ourselves, but we also were working full-time jobs. Now, without getting into all the details on this house, let me just say it was fun. Yes, there was obviously fights and there was times we disagreed, and do we spend a lot of money here? Do we not spend a lot of money here? One of our mistakes is we spent a lot on the counters thinking that would bring in buyers, and that was my idea. We spent $12,000 on really nice quartz countertops with the waterfall island. It was beautiful, but the thing is, the rest of our house was kind of subpar, so it didn't stand out that much. My whole point is, don't listen to the people that say it's not HGTV, because it can be. It's super fun. I had a blast, and I'm working on my 9th house, and I'm still having a blast. I'm doing most of the work myself. I see all ends from buying all the way to selling, and I've learned a lot. I've learned that it is fun. The thing is, if all these flippers complain and say, hey, it's not this, it's not that, don't get into it if this, don't get into it that, then why are they in it? I mean, it can't just be for the money. Long term, it can't just be for the money. People say, I'm doing it for the money, I'm doing it for the money. That's just not a long-term why. You're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna get burnt out. Now that I've said that, I will say it's not exactly HGTV. There's a lot of fun moments, and most of them are fun moments. But what you see on HGTV is you see the ugly house. You see the renovation montage. You see the big reveal. You see the profit at the end. But what you don't see is the 3 permits that got rejected, the contractor who ghosted them in week 2, the roof they didn't know was bad until demo day, the 6 months the property sat on the market, which we'll talk about in the next segment. That is huge. The holding costs bleeding them dry the whole time. Real flipping is not a renovation show. It's a finance problem with a construction headache attached. So right now, before we go forward, I need you to make a mental shift. Flipping a house is not an interior design project. It's a real estate investment, a short-term one at the fact. It could go 15 different ways. Once you accept that, everything I tell you is about to make sense. Okay. The number one reason flippers go broke. Once you've shifted your mindset and understand that there's a lot that can go wrong, you have to have a high risk calculator in your brain, and it's not an HGTV show. It's not the renovation budget. It's every single day that you own that property, it costs you money. Property taxes, loan interest, insurance, utilities. HOA if it has one. That can easily run $150 to $300 a day. Now, let's say your flip takes 6 months instead of the 3 months you planned. That's an extra 90 days. At $200 a day, you just lost $18,000. That was never in your budget. That's not a construction mistake, that's a timeline mistake. And here's the dirty truth about timelines. They never go as planned. Permits take longer, contractors have other jobs, materials get delayed, the inspector finds something, the buyer's financing falls through. Every one of those events costs you days. Days cost you money. See, when I see a beginner flipper map out a 90-day project with zero buffer, I already know what's about to go down. They build timeline risk into the deal from day one. They ask, can I still make money if this investment property sits for another twice as long as I plan it to? Let's talk about the renovation budget. You walk through a house, you make your list, the kitchen needs updating, the bathrooms are dated, the flooring needs refinishing, some paint throughout, maybe a new roof. You add it all up, let's say, $45,000. Rookie number. Here's the problem. You made that list based on what you can see. If it doesn't show up in a walkthrough, trust me, it'll show up on your bank statement. Knob and tube wiring, bad plumbing, rotted subfloor under the tile, mold behind the drywall, a foundation that shifted, and a crawl space that looks like it's straight out of a horror movie. This is why experienced flippers have a rule that feels insane until you've been burned. Do whatever a beginner estimates, then add 10% on top of that. Simple rule, 10%, come on, let's do it. Do it! Does that mean that some deals get killed by math? It does, but those deals were trying to kill you first. Just get a full inspection, not a walkthrough, a licensed inspector. Don't skip this to save $500 on a $300,000 asset. Get contractor bids before closing, not estimates, not ballpark figures, actual line item bids from people who've walked the property. Understand the difference between cosmetic and structural. Cosmetic flips are predictable. Structural work is a Pandora's box. If you're new, stay in the cosmetic lane until you know what you're doing. Here's the hard truth every flipper lives by. You make your money when you buy, not when you sell. Now let's say that again. You make your money when you buy and not when you sell. What that means is if you overpay going in, no amount of good renovation saves you. You're already in the hole. This is where the 70% rule comes from, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard the rule. Here's how it actually works. You want to buy at 70% of the ARV. So, to make math easy, if the after repair value, meaning, again, once it's all completely finished, this is what you hope a buyer will offer you. A realtor comes to you and says, hey, we just got an offer for $1 million. That's what a buyer's willing to pay, and that is the after repair value. So you would need to pay $700,000 for this house, right? Because that's 70% of the ARV. So you need to get this house at $700,000. Wait, you're not done. This is where people forget. Minus repairs, minus repairs, minus repairs. So if repairs are $150,000, you need to buy this property at $550,000. If repairs are $100,000, you need to buy it at $600,000, and so on. But it's 70% of the ARV minus repairs. Get that into your head. Now, I know that's hard to hear, but the single most dangerous thing in this business is falling in love with the property. Remember, this is a short-term investment. It's like you buying a stock or day trading or, whatever. You're not buying your dream home. You're not buying a vacation property. The deal has to work on paper before emotion gets involved. The moment you start bending your numbers to make the deal work, you're not an investor anymore. You're gambling. Off-market, wholesalers, tax delinquencies, probate sales, direct mail, or driving for dollars. Not Zillow, not the MLS listings. Those have been sitting there for everyone to see. Those are priced for retail buyers, not investors. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some occasions where you can find a good deal that makes sense, but not that often. Let me tell you a pattern I've watched destroy people in this business. They do their first flip, it works, maybe they clear $30,000 and they feel like a genius. That's great, $30,000. They do their second flip, also works. Now they're doing 2 at once, then 3, then 4. They're using hard money loans on all of them. High interest, short terms. They've got $1.2 million in debt spread across 4 properties. And then one deal goes sideways. Just one. A lawsuit, a market dip, a property that just won't sell, a contractor who disappeared after they gave their deposit. One bad deal infects all four because they borrowed against each other, because there's no cash buffer, because they scaled before they had the systems to support it. This is over-leveraging. It wiped people out at a spectacular speed. It's also dangerous because they think that they know what they're doing. They think they know that they're good. They've done a few. I mean, come on. I've never done 4 flips at a time. I've never done 2 flips at a time. But here's the thing. Every single one of my flips, I buy with cash. There is minimal holding costs. I have minimal risk. And I'm also a real estate agent. I know the market. I know every single time that I buy, even if the market drops 30%, I'm still going to make money. Never have your entire financial life dependent on a single deal closing. If one deal blowing up means you lose everything, your portfolio is too fragile. Build your reserves first. Master one deal at a time first. Understand your local market first. And scale. Here's one that gets overlooked a lot. You can do everything right price, right renovation, right timeline, and still lose money. How? You misread the market. The ARV you calculated 9 months ago when you bought the place, the market moved. Interest rates shifted, new inventory flooded your zip code. I actually just saw that with my last flip. I was in an HOA, the HOA dues went up. It didn't really bother me, but everyone started selling because the HOA dues went up. And so I list my house, I finally get it done. Not to brag, but it was a 3-week flip. Did it all myself. My wife helped for 5 days, so I guess I should say that. But, I mean, I didn't hire anything out. Okay, that's also a lie. The first couple days I hired, someone like a day or two to help with demo and whatnot. Now that I'm done tooting my own horn, it was crazy. I mean, come on. People are listing properties in this HOA like no other. And it's a beautiful HOA. It's right on the lake. And I'm telling you, you zoom out and there's a bunch of red dots on Zillow all around this lake and like nowhere else. And so it's got people thinking, well, why is everyone selling in this area? So right now that property is still sitting on the market. I'm not too worried about it considering, again, I don't have a whole lot of closing costs. Now let's get back into the market shifting. Suddenly the house that you thought was worth $300,000 is now worth $265,000. If you're lucky. This is why you need to understand the micro market obsessively. Not just the housing market, but your specific neighborhood, your specific price band, and your specific buyer pool. Here are some questions to know before you buy. How long are houses sitting on the market in this zip code right now? How many active listings are there at this price point? Are prices trending up, flat, or starting to soften? Who is the actual buyer for this finished product? First-time buyer, a move-up family, investor? If you can't answer those questions, you don't know your market well enough to flip. Okay. I've been a negative Nancy. We've covered a lot of ways to go broke. Let's talk about how you actually win. Paint or get off the ladder. I've always been the one to stay up there and paint, to get the job done. This person isn't the flashiest. They're not doing 10 deals at once. They're not on Instagram showing you all their renovations. They're methodical. They know their numbers before they make an offer. They build in buffers, time buffers, money buffers, market buffers. They have a contractor they trust. They stay in their lane, cosmetic flips in neighborhoods they know. They treat every deal like it could be the one that breaks them, so they protect themselves accordingly. And because they protect the downside, the upside, well, it takes care of itself. They're not trying to hit home runs. They're hitting consistent singles, and they're doing it year after year. This is how you build real wealth in this business. Not one big payday, consistent, boring, disciplined execution. Look, flipping houses can be a phenomenal way to build wealth. I'm not here to talk you out of it, but it's not passive, it's not easy, and it is absolutely unforgiving to the people that walk in blindly. The people that lose money, they're not stupid. They just didn't know what they didn't know. Now you do. Gave you value, and I mean real value. Hit that like button. It helps me a lot to be able to put this content out. It helps the algorithm. Keep in mind, I'm not doing 4 deals, 5 deals a month. I'm not flashing anything. I'm not a hype man. Just look at the amount of views this video has. I'm a beginning flipper sharing exactly what I know, the mistakes I've made, which honestly, And again, not to toot my own horn, but I have not made a whole lot of mistakes because I always buy at the right price and I follow every single strategy, every single rule that I just gave you. I follow it. If it's 75%, 80% rule, I do not buy it. If it's a bad neighborhood, houses are sitting on the market, I don't buy it. Everything that I just told you, watch this video again. I make sure I don't overpay. And that's what it comes down to. Just don't overpay. There's a lot of ways to find out if you are or aren't overpaying, and I have separate videos on that. You can also reach out to me. I'm not a huge business that's just trying to make money off you. I like helping the community. I want people to be able to build wealth as well. I'll see you in the next one.